The path of knowledge is the way to Jannah. The path of knowledge is the way to Jannah.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله. Viewers of Madani Channel, it is a great pleasure that with the bounty and the blessings of Allah, we are again blessed with the opportunity to continue with our episode The Path of Knowledge, trying to look all different aspects of knowledge. As the topic we said is self-explanatory, it explains itself. The path of knowledge, we must see the path, what is a path and what is knowledge. All in all, it is a series which is inclusive. Each and everything which have got to do with knowledge, we are going to cover in these following episodes. We said we are not going to leave any stone unturned. This is by the grace and the pleasure of Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal. Let's go back to our daily routine. Of that, we start with a hadith. This hadith which mention about the virtue of durud. On the authority of Abu Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Allah Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal be pleased with him, he said that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who is the master of humankind, the most generous, the most kind, the peace of our heart and the solace of our mind, said in one hadith that is for the one who sent a durud unto him, salutation, salawat, Allah Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal will multiply it and give it back to the sayer in form of 10 special mercies or 10 special rewards or 10 blessings. The narration sometimes it varies. Nevertheless, you won't go back empty-handed. Allah Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal will multiply that deed with times 10 and give it back to the sayer. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Of course, the golden principle is to check our intention before starting anything and before trying to sit in the gathering of knowledge or trying to listen something of religion. We just have got to check our intention. وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. We are not commanded with anything more except to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with sincerity. So let us try to check our intention. Me as a mubaligh, I will just have got to try to do and to deliver this silsila for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You as the listener, you just have got to try to sit and to listen attentively and try to pay attention. If you can, try to take some notes and jot some notes and try to digest the important points and try to pass it to others, as I'm sure going to explain some of the rights of knowledge very, very soon when we are be explaining one of the chapter called Surah Al-Asr. We are going to look at it on a tafsir perspective point of view. Let us try to go straight to the point. Today, let me just again, we are still on our way of explaining the virtues of knowledge, trying to look from the book of Allah Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal, Al-Quran, Al-Kitab, Al-Furqan, An-Nur. All these are the names which we can give to the Quran. You know, the big the thing, the more the name it will contain. The big the thing, the more the description it contains. You know, the great the personality, the more the titles which he earn. So nevertheless, also the Quran, it is something which is very great and something which is massive. It have got many names which Allah Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal named it in the Quran. The Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam named it in the Ahadith. The scholars refer it with many, many names to show how big the Quran is. So we are still in the Quran, diving in the sea of the Quran, trying to get some pearls in the Quran, which we find in the Holy Quran only to show the importance of knowledge. We are still focusing in the Quran. We shall go to the Ahadith. We shall go again to the sayings of the Ai*Imma to try to get more and more. But nevertheless, as we said that we cannot explain all the verses, we'll just have got to select some of them and try to look at them in an explanatory perspective point of view. Nevertheless, let us try to hear what we have got. The first verse of today, which is coming none other than Suratul Fatir, verse 28. We are mentioning these verses and the name of the surah so that you can refer to it. You can check your Kanzul Iman. You can check the book of Tafsir recommended by Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah for this typical of explanation. If you cannot understand, try to go and visit your teacher. Try to ask the scholars for them to clarify so that you'll have got a collection of knowledge, because this silsila, it is only there to encourage us now to take a step to knowledge. The main point behind this silsila path of knowledge, it is not that each and everyone now must start now the path of knowledge. We don't know what time is remaining on your clock of this dunya, I mean your period which you are going to stay in this dunya. So try to use now the remaining it to please Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal. So in Surah Fatir, verse 28, Allah Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal said that إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءُ. None fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from His creation except the scholars. So this verse, as you said that earlier on, it is one of the most important verses of the Quran, whereby we said وَهَذَا أنه سبحانه, that Allah Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal akhbara, informed us, أنهم أهل خشيته, that the scholars, they are the people of His fear. They are the people who revere, they respect Him. You see, viewers of Madani Channel, a point must be elaborated, must be clarified nicely, that when we are talking about the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, in English language we've got a problem that sometimes English cannot take us to the diameters of Arabic. That is a point. Let me try to admit it frankly, to be, you know, to be frank and honest. Nowadays they say that cash talk. You know, sometimes maybe we give check talk, I don't know. So this is cash talk. Nevertheless, when we say cash talk, it means that it is straight to the point. Right? Whenever we want to try to embark on Arabic, trying to translate it to English, we've got a mushkila, a problem, whereby it's hard to take the classical Arabic and try to put it in English. Why? Because Arabic, it is lughatu samawiyya. This is one of the heavenly selected language. It is one of the selected language which was selected by the Almighty to carry the divine language or the divine message of Islam. Henceforth, English, it's a language, we are not denying it, but it does not have what it takes for us to understand some other aspect of Arabic. That's why you find that what sometimes Arabic put in a summary, you need volumes and volumes of words to explain it in English. Okay, so we said that this alone, the khashiyah, which is being mentioned here, it is not like the fear of which some people they think in English. Like, for example, we say fear the lion. When we say fear the lion, it means that you fear it, you hate it, you don't want to hear about it. Whenever the lion comes, you run away. It's not your friend, it becomes your enemy. You don't like it. That fear which will make you to hate something, this is not the fear which we are talking about here. When I am talking about the fear here, it is the fear which will make you to love something more better. Which when you say you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you love Him more better. It will make you to be closer to Allah Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal. It take you to, you know, in the divine. It will make you to, I mean, to be divana. In Urdu they say like that. It will make you to be in STK. In English, we say like that, which is divana, exactly. That is the title which is divana in Urdu, which we can say extike. In English, the pinnacle of joy, of respect, reverence. All this have got to come with a khashiyah. So none other than the scholars have got this quality of khashiyah, the fear which make them closer and closer to Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal. So Rabbul Izzat bala khassahum, Allah Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal make khususiyya. In Urdu we say like that, khususiyya, that is speciality, that there is a speciality quality for the scholars. The true scholars, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specified them with it. Min bayni nasi bidhalik. Selecting any human beings on the other side, then putting the scholars that this quality of khashiyah is only found in these scholars, that is the scholars of religion. فَقَالَ تَعَالَى, then we quoted that verse in Surah Al-Fatir, verse 28. وَهَذَا حَصْرٌ, then we said that there is hasr, that last time in the previous episode I did mention it. Today I'm bringing it back because we are now giving its reference, that it is Surah Fatir, verse number 28, and there is a quotation of Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, which we want to make to comment this verse. وَقَالَ تَعَالَى, and an interesting fact also of the Quran, Al-Qur'an يُفَسِّرُ بَعْضَهُ بَعْضًا, it's a principle from principle. هَذَا أَصْلٌ مِّنْ أُصُولُ التَّفْسِيرِ, it's a principle from the principles of tafsir. That in other way you find that the Quran will explain its portion. For example, we say, إِهْدِنَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ صِرَاطَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ. We make a dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from among those people whom Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal is given hidayah, the guidance. An'ama, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is favored actually. That is, guide us to that place. Show us, make us from among that place, from which the places of which Allah Rabbul Izzat grant them favors. So in Surah Fatiha, when we talk about An'amta, those whom you have favored, who are they? Those whom you have favored. Now that surah, now other verses from other verses of the surah of the Quran, now further elaborate further. So we say that the Quran is explaining itself. Other verses are explaining other verses. So those people whom we say that they fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they Suratul Bayyina, whereby Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the same word again when he said that جَزَاهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ جَنَّاتُ عَدْنٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أَبَدًا رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ ذَلِكَ لِمَنْ خَشِيَ رَبَّهُ. The word again, خَشِيَ رَبَّهُ. Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal is saying in Surah Al-Bayyina, verse 8, he is saying that جَزَاؤُهُمْ, their reward, عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ, by their Lord, جَنَّاتُ, it will be garden, adinin, the gardens, the garden of Eden. Some they say that in English translation, but the gardens which are high, Jannatu adini, tajiri, of which underneath rivers flow, min tahti al-anhar, that the rivers flow. Under the gardens of paradise, the rivers are flowing. What beautiful scenario here. That most probably nowadays, you know what, most of best of these resorts, holiday resorts, hotels, and guest rooms and all, they try to build it in such a way that rivers are follow underneath. This is, we are not saying that they are actually, it is the copycat, that way by, people were attracted to it. This is, Allah already told us that the people of Jannah, they are going to enjoy the Jannah in such a way that the rivers will be following under it. It's a beautiful scene whereby, it's green around the flowers and the rivers are flowing underneath. It will show you the picture. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions something in the Quran, He normally make it that our human mind will try to picture it, because we cannot try to, to draw exactly how Jannah looks, because this is from among His ilmul ghaib, but Allah Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal revealed unto us some of its description so that we can have its picture. We can try to smell it from afar so that we can wake and aspire for it. So Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal is telling us that their reward will be Jannah, of which underneath the rivers will be running under it. Khalidina fiha, another good bushra, another khush khabri. The good news is that they are going to stay in Jannah forever. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us to enter into Jannah. One good news which we say is that whenever we enter Jannah, whenever those people who are going to be fortunate to enter into Jannah, they are not going to be chased out. Here in this dunya, for example, you might be living in Pakistan. Due to business reason, you can shift and stay in South Africa, sometimes from South Africa to Britain, from Britain to each and every country, due to some political reason, due to some starvation, due to hunger, due to disease, due to what? We make hijrah. But the place whereby there will be no hijrah, it is Jannah. We did put a pause on the verse, now we continue now to go to the verse. Abada, to affirm it forever and ever. Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal giving us guarantee. You know, nowadays we put it a pause again. Let us try to put an example. We are a people whereby we like guarantee. Whenever you build your house, you ask the builder, what guarantee? Some 100 years, some bridge. Here in African continent, whenever they put some bridge, they put it 100 years guarantee. Then people, they are satisfied. But now listen to the guarantee of Jannah. Abada, it is forever. Guaranteed. So why can't we prepare for Jannah today? Why can't we wait for Jannah today? Why can we be from amongst the people? Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal is saying that those who fear Allah Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal are the people who have got knowledge. Now, let us go back again to this beautiful verse and try to listen more. Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal then said, Radiyallahu anhum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with them. Allah is pleased with them. Let us go again. Waradu anhu. And they in turn, they are pleased with him. Allah is pleased with them, and they in turn, they are pleased with Allah Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal. Dhalika liman khashiya rabba. That is only for those people who fear Allah. Khashiya Rabba. These are the people who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Viewers of Madani Channel, just look. The khush, the good news, the bushra, good news, O people of knowledge. This is some of the bounties which is waiting for them in the hereafter. Actually, it started in this dunya. Nevertheless, to explain this verse, وقال ابن مسعود رضي الله تعالى عنه, Ibn Mas'ud رضي الله تعالى عنه said. Now, Ibn Mas'ud, the son of Mas'ud, it means, who is the son of Mas'ud? The son of Mas'ud, the whole name is Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Abdullah, the son of Mas'ud. That he said. Kafa bi khashyatillahi ilma. The fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is knowledge enough. The fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is knowledge enough. Khashya, the reverence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is knowledge enough. وَكَفَى بِإِغْتِرَارِ بِاللَّهِ جَهَلًا. And it's ignorant enough to be heedless of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be fooled away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jahl. That's why they say that. Ma usiya Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not disobeyed, except that the root cause of that is ignorance. The reason why people commit guna, what is the reason? Ma huwa sabab. Ma huwa sabab. Ma huwa sabab min al-asbab al-dhunub. What is the reason from among the reasons why we commit sin? One of the reasons is what? Nothing except sheer ignorance. Mere ignorance. If we know the one whom we are committing sins against, we could have not committed sins. It's only that we are ignorant. Of course, we might be knowing some other things, but we are, alim tashay, you know something, wajahalta ashya, but you are ignorant of many things. That's why sometimes we lack that tarbiyah, that taqwa, that fear, which will make us to fear Allah Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal. So the root cause beyond all the sins which are committed in this dunya, it is none other than ignorance. That is the root cause. Of course, there are many, many other causes, but the chief cause of all this is ignorance. That's why Ibn Mas'ud, this narration, actually, let us try to trace this narration. We just have got to give so that we know that what we are quoting is reliable. It is Rawahu ibn al-Mubarak. It is narrated by Ibn Mubarak fi Zuhud, in his book called Az-Zuhud. That is page number 15. this narration of Ibn Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, which I narrated, that we said that it is enough knowledge to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is enough ignorance to be heedless of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So its narration is coming from Fima Yarwi Ibn Mubarak, which was narrated by Ibn Mubarak in a book called Az-Zuhud, that is page 15, and also Imam Ahmad in his Musnad, also in the chapter of Az-Zuhud, he did narrated also this type of saying, and also you can refer it to At-Tabarani in the book called Al-Kabir, that is, you can check page, the Al-Kabir volume 9, 211, that is the quotation. You can check in Al-Kabir, whereby also Imam At-Tabarani quote this quote of Ibn al-Mas'ud, of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, make sure that it was narrated by many of the scholars. And also Ad-Darami, he did quoted it, Abu Nu'aym in his Al-Hulya, and it was coming from the way of Masruq. In Al-Hulya of Abu Nu'aym, it was coming on the way of Masruq, this narration, to show how important the scholars they used to do. They used to narrate and to quote and to give us reference, so to make sure that whatever we are quoting is true. Why? Because this is the religion. We must base it on a pure asl, which we must be sure of. Nevertheless, this is to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we only will get it through knowledge. That's why we said, Akbarul fasad, abidun, jahilun, mutanassik. It's a worshipper who want to try to worship without knowledge. It's like you want to dive in the sea and you're not a swimmer, and you're not a sea diver. Soon you're just going to drown. Innama yakhsha Allaha min ibadihi al-ulama'u. Those people who fear, who revere Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who respect the Almighty, it's none other than the scholars. For example, let's take an example. We people normally, when we know the greatness of somebody, we respect him. Qala sha'ir, a poet said, Aya shab, oh dear youth, Ali Rabbil Arshi ta'aswi, you want to disobey the Lord of the Arsh. Ali Rabbil Arshi ta'aswi, you want to disobey the Lord of the Arsh. Atadiri ma jaza'u dhawil ma'aswi. Do you know what is the reward of those people who perpetuate sins? That is, you are ignorant of two things. Number one, you are ignorant of Allah, Rabbul Arshil Azim. Number two, you are ignorant of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable of. What is the reward of those people who do the sin? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those people who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who revere Him, who have good respect of Rabbul Izzat wal Jalal. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad.
The path of knowledge is the way to Jannah. The path of knowledge is the way to Jannah.